Ability to turn adversity to advantage is one of the hallmarks of politics. And after much intrigues and controversy over the consensus gambit, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC held its presidential primary election in Abuja. The party's national leader, Bola Tinubu, won the primary to become the APC presidential flag bearer for the 2023 election. And it's not just a little win, it's a landslide. We'll be beginning tonight with how it started. We're revisiting his opening remarks at the primary as well as the speeches by other aspirants.
I am a serious man with a serious purpose, and I will use all that I know and all my abilities to benefit our people. I'm a unified leader. I have constructed a formidable political structure, one that has delivered electoral victory after electoral victory. I do not put myself forward because I think this is a nomination in Nigeria. I step forward because I believe I can lead our party towards the brightest future. I have expertise, my record of corporate leadership, my financial expert, my experience as an executive governor of Lagos make me unique among all other aspirants, giving me the requisite skill to accelerate the progressive reform that will change the face of our national economy. I cannot, on this day, talk of a brighter and prosperous future without declaring my determination to fight terrorism and insecurity to the very end. I mourn the lives already lost, vow to do everything possible to ensure justice and forever erase terror from our land. Today, you decide our presidential nominee. Let me be the man who can best articulate a vision of progress and development. Then implement it. Let us always honor the promise of the APC, the promise we made to Nigeria. I humbly ask you to nominate me as the party's presidential candidate because I am confident, competent, courageous, and ready to start from day one. God bless you. God bless you. God bless APC. God bless Nigeria.
And it wasn't just words. We saw Asiwaju match words with action. 1,271 votes out of 2,203 votes from the accredited delegates at the just concluded APC special convention. I'm joined by BKO and Adewale Adeoye. Gentlemen, thank you for finding time to come on the program.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd like us to begin with Asiwaju's speech. It was all about his ability to lead based on his track record and the things that he's done before. Some would call it a little bit of ego, but it wasn't just words. We saw that not only did most of the people who have seen his work in time past believe him, the delegates also believed in what he said.
Yes, the point is there is no other thing to sell to people other than his tremendous record of achievement in Lagos. What else does he have to sell to people? There are so many things that people do not know about him, you know. But people can see what he has done. And there are many things that he has done that people see in Lagos. They don't even know that He is the one who made it possible. So, in this kind of contest, you've got to let the people know what you have done. To some people, it could be chest thumping, but if you can't thump your chest by yourself, who should do it for you? I mean, politicians want all the time to convince the voter that they are good enough for the job. And the best way to show that you are good enough for the job is to point at what you had done in the past, what you did when you had the opportunity to serve the people. Asiwaju has a tremendous record. This is not simply praising him. It's the truth. Look at Lagos. At a point, we had a very serious problem of flooding from the Atlantic, arising from the Atlantic. The Ahmadu Bello Way was always flooded. At some point, it was a big problem. The federal government that had the responsibility to fix that problem couldn't fix it. In the end, the whole idea of reclaiming parts of the ocean came up. Today we have the Eco-Atlantic project. It's still on. That project by itself put an end to that environmental problem of the ocean spilling out and flooding some parts of Lagos Island. It was that project, the Eco-Atlantic, that put an end to it. It was refilled. They did what was necessary. Today, that area has been put to good use. You see skyscrapers rising up to the horizon in that area. Somebody discovered the best way to solve that problem, and he's done it. We have the BRT, for example, the bus rapid system. Many people will not know that all the buses had even arrived in Lagos before Asiwaju left office. It was his project. The buses had even arrived in Lagos before he left office. There are so many things that he did that I don't even want to go into here, because the purpose of today's show is not to look at what Asiwaju has done. We can give a whole program to that, and we won't even have enough time still.
A lot of people have talked about the Lagos blueprint and how critical and pivotal it was in drawing that particular blueprint. But there's a matching of that ability and also is political sophistication to be able to ensure that there's consistency in government within the Lagos metropolis. He's been out of office for 15 years now, and the last time he occupied an elective office was 2007. And he did mention that I am the serious man with the serious purpose.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how that resonated with most of the things that Biko just mentioned.
Well, I think there are few state governors that left power in 2007 and are still relevant 15 years after. There are many of them that you can't even remember their names. If you ask people, they don't know. But consistently, I think Asiwaju has dominated national discourse since 1999, even after he left the space. And then when we are talking about Lagos, one thing we should also not forget is transportation system. Lagos was notorious for Moulwe, in those days, which has been here since the 1960s or 50s. And nobody ever thought that an end could be brought to the Moulwe menace. But without ceasing Moulwe on the streets, without taking over them, destroying them and all that, I mean, they meticulously introduced the BRT corridor, which naturally, weeded off the menace of Moulwe. That was an embarrassment for decades, when we are talking about managing Lagos. And I think one should also be impressed by the fact that a governor that could survive for several months without allocation from, federal government, during the PDP era when the funds for the states was seized. So I think it required a kind of innovation for anybody. A lot of states will have collapsed. And that was the intention of the government at that time, that look, once we seized the funds meant for local government, the state will collapse, but it didn't collapse. Salaries were being paid. And when you are talking about stability, Lagos is one of the few states where you have consistently, it has been the same political trend. And if you look at UNDP references, global references, it's always about Lagos in terms of economic development, in terms of human power development, and in terms of, transformation. We are not saying that everything is perfect, but in comparative sense, I think Lagos, which is the 5th largest economy in Africa, has been able to meet to a large extent the aspirations of many people. Where some other states are struggling with payment of salaries and all that. It's not about IGR that has gone up alone, but managing the resources. I think it's what is most important. We have oil-rich states that cannot manage their resources. They owe salaries, they owe pensions and all that. So I think to a large extent, we have seen a lot of things that could be attributed to him. And I think on that basis, going for that kind of battle, if you go to any part of this country, any local government, I think it's one of the few aspirants that when you mention his name, people will not scratch their head before they can remember.
Now, Asiwaju is referred to as first amongst equal. That's even if he has equals amongst those who left office in 2007. But do you think that it would have had this kind of, this cloud of leadership if the party leadership or governance in Lagos had been interrupted when he left office? If he had left ACN or left APC to the opposition?
I believe that even if he left his party, it will really not change anything. Remember, Asiwaju won election on the platform of the Alliance for Democracy. But he left Alliance for Democracy, formed his own party, the Action Congress, which later came to be known as Action Congress of Nigeria, and he retained the structures that he inherited at Alliance for Democracy. He retained his core of loyal staff. He retained the upward trajectory that Lagos had come to be identified with during his time as governor. So I believe that even if he left his party, he will still be just as good as he is in terms of the qualities that will come to identify with him. But he did so well to bring his party, Action Congress of Nigeria, to the mainstream of Nigerian politics, and he supported the idea of forming a mega party. In fact, he was the main driver of that process. I attended the APC, the first consultative forum of the APC in 2014, and right there at Sheraton in Abuja, the APC members who had the opportunity to talk kept saying that without Asiwaju, that the APC could never have been formed, because he piled the pressure, he spoke to the people that mattered, and he successfully midwifed the APC. At the end of the day, he moved away from being the leader of the opposition, because during the Obasanjo regime and during the Jonathan regime, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was undoubtedly the leader of the opposition in our country. But eventually, he transited from being the leader of the opposition to being a player in the ruling party when the APC successfully wrested power from the People's Democratic Party. So I believe, given the talents that he's endowed with, wherever he finds himself, somehow he would distinguish himself and show the talents that it has pleased God to bless him with.